Just another day at the office of being a Cowboy fan. They find new and exciting ways to break your heart every single Sunday, and this felt no different. It happened again. Another collapse by the Cowboys, another failed comeback effort, whatever you want to call it. I am heartbroken. This one is going to take a while to get over, so we'll break it down and much more in this episode of Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody, to Cowboys Digest. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis. And it's not Groundhog Day, Cowboy fans. This is just the reality of what we are living in. Every single Sunday, the Cowboys find ways to disappoint us. And they were down big time in this game today. The Ravens were running all over them in the first half and in the second half as well. But then a flip switched, and they decided to play. They remembered that there was a football game that was supposed to be played at 4:25 Eastern time today, but I guess they missed the memo coming out of the gates. But whatever. Before we get into the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button because 85% of you who are watching these videos are not doing so. So go ahead and do that. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything, helps me out a ton, and it allows me to make this daily content for you about the Cowboys every single day because that's what I love doing. I love this team despite the heartbreaks. So go ahead, subscribe. I'm going to be reacting to every game this season as well as all the breaking news leading up to game day. So you won't want to miss the daily Cowboys content. Hit the subscribe button, but let's get straight into it. The Cowboys did just enough to bring everybody's hopes up and still lost. Pain. So much pain. You know it's bad when a verified reporter is tweeting this out. RJ Ochoa, go check him out on X. Very valuable Cowboys coverage. But yeah, he's right. 28-25 loss. The Cowboys were down 28-6 in the fourth quarter. They were down 28-12 with 7 minutes left to go, and valiant effort. Dak Prescott really showed out there in the fourth quarter, but this was one of the worst performances that I've ever seen out of CeeDee Lamb. The defense, again, non-existent. The scoreline might be a little bit flattering to them. 28 points does not do justice how bad they were in this contest. Let's take a look here. The Ravens almost rushed for 300 yards in this. 6 yards per carry for Derrick Henry, 6.2 for Lamar Jackson and Justice Hill on a couple of jet sweeps and some designed runs for him, 6.6 yards per carry. So that is not a number that you want to be at. That is definitely not a sweet spot when trying to contain the run. And just another no-show by Micah Parsons and the rest of the Cowboys defense. They did nothing to stop the run. Lamar Jackson only threw the ball 15 times. 12 for 15, 182 yards, one passing TD, and the majority of the damage, again, by the opponent was done on the ground. And Derrick Henry looked like he was 25 years old out there today. He hasn't looked like vintage Derrick Henry at all this season until they rolled into AT&T Stadium and remembered that the Cowboys cannot stop the run. But the only positive that I can take out of this game is that the Cowboys fought, and they didn't give up. Even though it would have been very easy for them to give up. And you could even argue that they did give up after the first half, but then something just switched on for them. So good on them. They made it a game, but at the end of the day, it's one more in the loss column, and it's more pain for us to digest as Cowboy fans. And I saw this tweet. I thought it was funny. Maybe make some light out of the situation. If you're 250 plus pounds and live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, get your jersey and pads because we're having defensive tryouts for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I've been trying to get on this health journey here. I've been trying to lose a little bit of weight, but watching the Dallas Cowboys O-line operate, I'm thinking that there's still a chance for me to go out there and make a living blocking for the run. And maybe I could replace Terrence Steele. Maybe I could replace Mozzie Smith on the defensive line if I put on an extra 100 pounds. Who knows? But in all seriousness, this defense, which was touted as a playmaking group, as a group that could have made a lot of things happen for them, they have not been able to stop the run, and they dedicated way too much focus to their speed, and again, that has backfired on them. They're just not big enough to win those battles in the trenches, and it showed yet again. Derrick Henry, 250 plus pound running back, just running it down their throats. They knew that it was coming, and there was nothing that they could have done about it. That's how pitiful this Cowboys defense is. You know what you have to scheme against, yet you still can't stop it. I don't know if it's an effort thing. I saw a total lack of effort in the first half by the Cowboys, and I think that's what really stood out to me. Good on the offense, again, for coming back and doing what they did despite a CeeDee Lamb fumble in the first half, despite him dropping balls and not having a great game and showing terrible body language on the sideline. They did whatever they could to will themselves back into the game, but it is hard to get yourself back into a contest when your defense just can't get a stop. They could not get a stop, and then they had a chance at the end of the game to stop them. They got faked out by Lamar Jackson. I think we all did, in fairness to the Dallas Cowboys defense. But they knew what was coming. They knew that the Ravens were going to try to run the ball, and again, it didn't matter. They couldn't stop anything. Then a 3rd and long, Trevon Diggs, he's not playing close enough to his man. He's given up that underneath route, and what do? You get burned, first down, and they're one step closer to icing the game out. So it's just a constant slew of errors for the Dallas Cowboys, and it is so frustrating to watch on a weekly basis. They went from the highest of highs in week 1 against the Cleveland Browns to the lowest of lows, allowing 6 touchdowns on their first 6 possessions against the New Orleans Saints. And then this week, again, same exact story in the first half. They're running it down your throat. It's nothing schematically amazing that the Baltimore Ravens are doing, but there is nothing that you can do to stop it. And that, to me, is unacceptable. Whether you want to talk about the personnel or the coaching, fine. There is a lack of effort on this group. On the defensive group I'm talking about. I thought the offense was fine. Again, still nothing to write home about in terms of the running game. I just don't think it'll ever be there. They don't have the personnel to be a good rushing team. Rico Dowdle, I like him as a backup, but he is not a starter. Zeke does not have that explosiveness, and Deuce Vaughn should not be carrying the football in the National Football League. That's just the end of the story. Well, they're dealing with the hand that they were given, and they just don't have the weapons in the backfield to provide any sort of substance in the run game. So that's fine. I'm going to give them a pass there. I'm not going to give Jerry Jones a pass because he did little to nothing to address that. And see here, I love upset Dallas Cowboy fans. I hope y'all have a terrible night's sleep tonight. Don't worry, Black Adam Schefter. I will. I am already ruining having to go to sleep tonight because I'm totally pissed off about this effort that I saw, and it's despicable. Despicable. And then I got a tweet here from a good family friend of mine, Harry Nicoladakis, PX Houdini, hold on 97. So he was calling for a hold on Oso Digizua. I thought it should have come there on the fake draw by Lamar Jackson, but ultimately wasn't called. And then we know the story. The Ravens went out and just knelt the ball, and that was it. And just another terrible performance by the Dallas Cowboys defense. There's no other way to put it. There is a lack of effort on this football team. It might be a little bit too late now to make a coaching change, and I don't know if it'll solve anything, but Mike McCarthy, Mike Zimmer, what I've been seeing in the first 3 weeks here, not impressed whatsoever. I was singing the praises of Mike Zimmer because he was using that versatility, but the Cowboys defense are filled with a bunch of front runners. They talk big when they're up big, and then when they have to stop the run, when they have to dig deep and get a stop, they just can't do it. They're a bunch of front runners that run their mouths, and they're not able to make stops when the time calls for it. So that's the story of the Cowboys defense. They want to run their mouths. They can't win the battles in the trenches, and they get burned for it. They're now 1-2 on the season. They got the Giants on Thursday Night Football. They should win that game. If they don't, heads better roll after that. But this was another horrible performance by the Cowboys defense. Totally did them in. There was no chance for Dak Prescott and company to come back into the game. I know that they did have some opportunities to get themselves back into the contest, but when you can't get a stop and when you're giving up long drives in rushing fashion, when you're letting this happen, 275 yards on the ground by the Baltimore Ravens, you're going to lose. You are absolutely going to lose. You knew exactly what was coming today. That was the game plan all week long. Everyone was talking about it. The Cowboys can't stop the run. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are going to try to run until they can't run anymore. And that's what they did. They just ran it until the Cowboys defense just finally gave out for the final time. But that'll wrap it up for this episode of Cowboys Digest. Again, guys, just make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make me feel a little bit better after this loss. And hopefully I can bring some light and make it a little bit funny. Because, we deserve these kinds of tweets. We deserve it. We've suffered, but our team is filled with a bunch of guys that are not competing right now. And Black Adam Schefter has that right. I hope we're all going to have a terrible night's sleep. It's going to be a short week, luckily, and the Cowboys will have a chance to redeem themselves. But, again, just terrible. And, yeah, if you are over 250 pounds in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, give Jerry Jones a call. I'm sure he's pretty busy. I'm sure his phone lines might take a while to get through to him, but, if you got some football experience, whether it's JV, whether it's varsity, if you're 250 pounds, put the pads on, see what happens, and see if you can hang in the trenches, because this Cowboys defense cannot. That'll wrap it up. Thanks, guys, for making it this far. And I'll reluctantly say this. Go Cowboys.